Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Dave, my totally fictional, not really a show that I do on the internet for no legitimately good reason whatsoever, but I'm doing it because it's COVID time and we're here at home and there's lots of interesting people who are also here at home or virtually at their business. Like my friend Jamie Stevens. Like, look at this. There he is. And that's really well lit. Like that's a very
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not actually at the rope factory, just so you know.
No, that's that.
Can you tell?
Yes. Yeah.
The flames aren't moving. What are the flames?
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Well, I think
it's
the sheer number of Zooms and internet calls I've done, and to be able to get like backlighting even remotely proper, it's not easy. So that's
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I've taken on my actual desk here to have I've had to buy lighting for my desk. My wife hates it. Like the fact that I've turned it my desk into a set. She hates it. I mean, more than
that's just a regular desk lamp. You don't have any of those like funky ring lights and all that stuff that the kids are using for their streams.
No, it felt pretentious to me. I couldn't do the ring light. But I have like a little mic and everything. So
look at you.
Yeah, there's parts of this whole thing that a Gen Xer can't, cross that line.
No, we're just like totally MacGyvering things. If I just duct tape this lamp to this ruler, I'm sure it can achieve the same results. No, I have the rope factory background for my Zoom calls because I'm doing a lot of Zoom calls with brides, as you can imagine. Brides and grooms. I say brides because let's be honest, the grooms don't make any decisions.
No, they certainly don't. No.
It's fun watching them. Bride's like, well, I'm thinking this. What do you think, honey? Like, yeah, that's good. I like that. Whatever you want. So
Chrissy and I got married. We got married years ago. Like we've been married for a long time now. But I actually remember the moment where I realized that I had no say and no power when it came to the wedding. And so I was sitting with my soon-to-be mother-in-law, and I thought, let's just do this low key. And I said, we'll just have like a barbecue, and we just even use paper plates. We'll have Dr. Pepper, and she looked at me like I was from the moon, and I'm like, oh, I guess the way this works is I don't say these things, and you decide. You
just stay quiet. You just show up. That's your goal. That's your job. Just show up. Be sober for the ceremony. That's really your only So I've been doing a lot of meetings with brides and grooms. So throw the rope factory background, and it is funny how many actually think I'm at the rope factory when we're chatting. They're like, "Oh, do you live there? You're always there." I'm like, "It's a green screen."
You are in the rope factory. You're in the rope factory as much as we're in a trendy coffee shop right here. So
there we go.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, so rope factory. I mean, this has been a really interesting time for an event planner, I imagine. A guy with a fancy new event hall.
Oh yeah, man, it's been great.
How's it going over there?
Yeah, man. I joke about it, right? Because and I'm not actually crying right now. I just woke up. Yeah, man. I joke about it. It's funny. I tell people, what a great time to dump your life savings into an event hall. But it's been interesting, man. I mean, at the end of the day, the adversity, just learning to adapt your business to kind of keep pushing through. I think this will be the hardest thing we have to deal with in this business. So getting it out of the way now, I think probably is a good thing. We're really fortunate.
It couldn't be much more difficult of a scenario to have to deal with. Really,
no. I'm really fortunate, man. I have a silent partner in this venture as well, and I mean they're on the same page with me and my plans for it. So we were really fortunate. We took over in August last year, and we had a really good August to January. One of the last events we did was 2 sold out shows with Finger 11 at the Rope Factory in January. We had Tom Green there in March, literally right before the shutdown, and that was sold out. So yeah, we had that money's all gone now, of course, but I mean it was nice. We did really well. So it bodes well for the future. And then we're really fortunate.
Great venue. It's such a great spot all around. I mean, not just just the rope factory, even, or your spot, but the whole complex. Like here, I'll do a screen share here about your poutine business, and we'll chat
Yeah,
about that in a
cool.
second. But one of the things I like about it is the there's this
Hey,
cool
was that last
walkway.
night? No, that was last week.
That
Yeah, the
was, yeah,
walkway.
that was last. So you're doing live acts out there. You're doing poutine out there. My buddy Joel is working just a little bit further down this walkway on his Cardia Ninjas place that's opening up soon. And it's this
I feel for
really,
Joel, man. I feel for Joel.
he's coming along though. He's coming
Yeah, I
along.
know. I know.
It's gonna be really good. But it's such a cool such a cool feel, and when this all is set it is all said and done, it really honestly is going to be a destination in Brantford, this whole complex.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's the goal. We had a new business that moved in there a couple months ago, came down to see me to say hi, and they said I picked my location because of the rope factory, because of the amount of traffic that we're bringing down to the village. So we're definitely one of the anchor tenants in the village. The difference between us and some of the other businesses down there, we're consistently bringing new people down there pretty much every week.
Yeah.
Different weddings, different events, obviously different demographics of people. So that's one of the really cool things about Spool. And we'll talk about Spool, obviously, but the
Yeah.
amount of new people we're bringing down to the village, like the people are driving up, and I had no idea this was here. So it's good. It's good. It's a great spot.
So years ago, this was now, I mean, I guess, geez, how old are we? I mean, more than 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, you and I and a few others, we would get together every now and again. And we were like, we grew up in Brantford, and there was a moment in Brantford's, 10, 15 years ago past, where there was a bunch of us that were like, do you stay and do you dig in here and do you try and create what Brantford could be, or do you turtle and do you go and you go find greener pastures? And you and I and a bunch of others, and I mean, I'll even just point to a guy like Lucas Duguid, because we were all in high school around the same age, and he dug in and started his business there. And there were a number of us. It wasn't like a coordinated effort, but we did do it on purpose, and it was an encouraging thing for a bunch of us to be able to go, let's stay here and let's dig in. And I remember the early days where I still, one of my favorite Harmony Square memories is you and I hosting one of the first events at the Square, and it was like the I Love Brantford music extravaganza, something or other. And you and I get out on stage, and it's just like maybe 1 in the afternoon, and for whatever reason we were doing bands all day, and I remember so distinctly grabbing the mic and going, "Hello, Brantford!" And some guy leaned over the Harmony Square apartments and gave me the finger and told me off. And I'm like, and away we go.
That's a Brantford welcome.
Buddy,
that was funny. A picture popped up of that actually a little while ago in my memories, but that was funny.
Oh, it was a scene, but I mean,
that was a long day.
It was a long day. It was a long day, but you were so committed to being both the promoter of the city and the serial entrepreneur at the time, to be able to go, I'm going to be able to prove that there's nothing to do here, and if there is nothing, then I'll create something. And the fact that you're doing this poutine place, and you can chat a little bit about that, but it's been impressive to me because you're a guy that goes, screw it, I'm going to figure out a way to be able to make this work. Right, like you've invested in it. This is home. This is your base, and you're going. If I can't do weddings in here, I got a great kitchen. Let's fire up the poutine machine and let's make it work.
Yeah, and it drove me crazy, man. Because we're sitting here with this event hall. We've got literally from May till December every weekend booked. Sometimes 2 events, 3 events in the weekends, completely wiped off the books. And again, fortunate because most of those people, I'd say like 95% of those people rebooked for next year. So that's really the light at the end of the tunnel for me. Like there better be something by 2021 for this, or it's going to be bad. but yeah, so I'm sitting with this kitchen and I'm going on these walks. I'm just thinking about things I could do. So I reached out to a few chefs, like just people that I know, saying, "Hey, you got some cooking experience. Why don't you rent my kitchen? Do something, run something. I'll give you a great deal. Like just some kind of revenue stream would be nice." And everyone pretty much said, "Well, I'm getting the Serb. I'm getting the $2,000, so I don't really want to work right now, and I don't want it to affect my Serb," which I get, I understand.
Yeah.
But that was frustrating because it's like nobody wanted to work. Um, so then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do it myself. I mean, I don't know how to make poutine and mac and I mean, I know how to make it, but I not at the gourmet level.
Not at the gourmet level.
Not the
No. No.
gourmet level. So yeah, I wanted to do something that was just different for Brantford. So I ended up finding a chef who basically said to me, like, I just want to come in and cook. I don't want to do the shopping. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to handle all the stressful side of it. I just want to come in and make good food. So
Mhm.
that was Chef Jason Gibson, who was at the who owned Chef in the Box.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we chatted. We came up with some recipes. Um, he said, "Look, I'll do this for like 3 months, and we'll just kind of see where it goes." And he was off work at the time. So yeah, we started doing it and it's really taken off. And to me, it's like this is like a feather in the cap achievement because I'm in a space I know nothing about. I know nothing about the food industry. Running a restaurant now, essentially. I mean, it's a takeout restaurant. We have a patio now, so there's dinner service and table
Yeah.
service. But I said to him when we did this, I'm like, this is just a test to me. Like, this is gonna sound really arrogant. People are like, "Oh, you're the guy. You're the promoter. You're the guy. If you want to get people excited about something, then you're the guy." So I'm like, okay, well, let's prove it. Like, let's see
Let's
if I
see.
can
Let's
actually
see if I
get
can go and
people.
sell poutine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, right? I mean, and I said to him, I said, my biggest fear in all this is I'm going to do this, it's going to flop. And really, I'm not in a position to lose money. I mean, there's enough financial devastation with COVID.
Mhm.
But as a serial entrepreneur, it's almost a mental illness in a way because you literally, as an entrepreneur, will have like $3,000 in your bank account. And instead of like worrying about paying your bills, you go, how can I invest this into something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I did. I literally like took the little bit of money I had left and I'm like, got the insurance, got everything set up and did it. And man, we're 10 weeks in. And I mean, we've had nights we've had to close at 6:30. We opened at 5 because we
Amazing.
sold out. So
I saw
it's
you do
been
a
really
post, Jamie. I saw you write something, I don't know, a few weeks back, and this was around the time when What the Fest was supposed to be going, and it was, I mean, an incredible disappointment. But I watch, and to your credit, and I'm sure that there's times where you wish that you weren't like this, but you share your actual feelings and thoughts publicly to people.
yeah. Yeah. That's why I can never
whether
run
it's
for
whether
council.
it's whether it's wine thoughts or not, you share your thoughts, right? And you go, you were writing, people think that because we put on big events that you're loaded, right? Like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
he's doing fine because I mean, these things require partners and planning, and when one little thing goes cattywampus, it can set off a chain of events that can really be really, really difficult. And so, like, these are the I've watched people make very dumb comments about things like this and go, you just don't know. It's a very it's a fun world to be able to do events, and I'm an event guy
Yeah.
myself. It's fun. There's sometimes great payoffs, and there's other times when it can be a huge blow. You're pushing all your chips in, right?
Dude, I tell people all the time, I'm one really bad event away from being out of business. I mean, that's the way it really is. I mean, you can put, you can have it do a show and make a little bit of money. So then you take that money, you do another show, and you make a little bit of money on that
Yeah.
show. You take that, and then you do a
Yeah.
bigger show, and then along the lines, if one of those shows don't pan out, you can't take the money and do another show because you don't have any money left.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it fits my lifestyle a little bit. Like I'm a risk taker for sure. I think I like to take more calculated risks now than before. What the Fest was super risky. We had the previous festival here in town that kind of took off with left a bad taste in people's mouths. We'll just put it that way.
I don't even remember that. No.
Yeah. Well,
I don't remember it.
I do. Because we were pigeonholed as like, oh, just another one of the, or we were accused of being associated with or whatever. And that first year was tough, man. And it was made even tougher by having the most rain Brantford has ever seen on the Sunday, which was our big day.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
So we came off the Friday night with like 7,000 people in the park, and we're like, wow, this is incredible. And we're expecting 10,000 people on Sunday, and there was maybe 1,000 or 1,500 who were able to eat. Like we found out after that you couldn't even get in the park for like 3 hours because they closed off Gilkinson. You know how they have the little gate.
Yeah.
So that sucked. So we've been crawling out of that hole for years. But to credit of my partners, and we brought on Phil Gillies and MJ as well, MJ Perry, who you're friends with. So, credit to those guys who saw the value in this. And, last year was really successful, and we were really hoping for this year. This year would have been so much fun, man. That lineup, I had so much fun building that lineup. I was looking for it. It was like a 90s flashback lineup, and the sales were going really well for the 3 weeks we had tickets on sale for. So we felt really good about this year. It's a shame it didn't happen, but
Jamie, does anybody ever give you band suggestions?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, perfect, excellent. So I have a 3-word answer to all your band problems. Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al Yankovic, 100%. So it's funny you say that, because I reached out to Weird Al's people a few years ago to do a show with him at the Sanderson Center. And we actually had a deal in place, and the money was agreed upon. Not cheap. Weird Al's not cheap, because they know every hey, Kristen, I haven't seen Kristen forever.
She is. She's on the Twitter.
Sorry, I just totally lost my train of thought there. Weird Al. So they know every show he does is going to sell it. I mean, the guy's going to sell it no matter where he goes. So it wasn't cheap, but we had a deal in place, and then Kitchener Center in the Square picked them up. Much bigger theater, obviously, and then there's a radius clause that came into play. And
I saw Weird Al the last time he was here at the Sanderson Center, and he put on the big fat suit and he played about 8 different instruments. I voted for him.
Like to meet the guy. Wouldn't that be great?
I voted for him at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I was there a couple of years ago too. I feel like he's still a few votes away from making it into the hall, but
yeah, he's definitely contributed to music. He's great, man. I'd love to see him. We've had a couple interesting behind the scenes things that happen. There's the lineup constantly changes. We go in with what we want, and then you get one of the 3. And then you're like, okay. And then, we had a situation this year, and I won't name any names, but we got one band we were really happy with. And then we're like, this other band would be perfect. So we put an offer in for the other band, be on contingent on our band we've already booked signing off on it.
Yeah.
So we got the approval for the one band, and we went back to the other one, and we're like, hey, we want to bring these guys. We're like, oh, no. The bands don't like each other.
Beef. They call it.
90s beef.
It's called you got beef with them. So
yeah. So that was interesting. So yeah, we've had a lot of. It's funny. Sometimes we have our lineup that we want, and then we go for it. We don't get it, so we start working on something else. And then 3 weeks into working on something else, you get a phone call from your original offer saying, "Hey, they're now available." So now you're going back to the lineup that you want. It's
wild, right? Yeah.
It took about 6 months to get the Sugar Ray Uncle Cracker. That might surprise people, but it took 6 months to get that. I mean, Mark McGrath is not only Sugar Ray, he's with Sirius XM. He does a lot of TV. he has his own show on 90s on 9 on Sirius XM. He's does a lot of stuff with TV, some movie appearances as well. So he's a hard guy to nail down. So that one was tricky. And then who else we have? Uncle Cracker. We had Econoline Crush and Biff Naked. So we were really excited about Biff Naked. I mean, she's such a great, not just a great performer, but she's also an activist and women's rights activist. And
when I was doing college radio at Niagara College, campus radio, CRNC, Biff Naked was just really kind of breaking. So there was a lot of Biff Naked on.
We were really excited about that. We obviously draw a pretty wide demographic at What the Fest. But we were really excited about, we obviously want to have a pretty diverse lineup. We look for different, we obviously want some females up there as well, like some strong females. So we've had the Beaches here. We had the Beaches here last year, and we hit gold with them.
You got them right before they hit, right?
They were like, "What do you think about these guys?" We're looking at them, and I had a couple of friends reach out, going who are like, really into the indie scene. They're like, "Hey, these guys are really good," and we got them for like next to nothing. It wasn't. And then all of a sudden, they're like, opening for the Rolling Stones, the Beaches, and #1 record in Canada, #1 song on the radio, and we had people going like, "They're playing in Brantford. Oh my God, they're playing in Brantford." Yeah, we saw a ton. And it's weird because in a weird way, it's almost like they could have moved up to the headliner spot at the time because they were so hot. And I mean that, you know what I mean?
I understand.
So they were like the thing, right? And but you can't, there's so much politics in music. Like when you lock someone into a spot, you can't move them down without paying them more money. And
I only have a minor in this, along with Phil and MJ when we did our series of concerts. We did Randy Bachman, Bruce Coburn, and then Lighthouse. And thankfully, most of them were very good to work with. But it was, I don't have.
Just so you know, you only named 3 and said most were good to work with.
They were all pretty good to work with. It's a different world, and I gained enormous amounts of respect for you. So let's talk quick about comedy, Jamie, because that's still something. Part of why I've been doing these coffee times is that I really want to feature some different small business owners and entrepreneurs and people who are doing good stuff in the city as a way to be able to. And I just did with a team this big spend across Canada, and so we did a day where we ended up seeing, and we're about to put out the press release, but we ended up seeing when we kind of gauge how much was reported compared to how much we think was actually spent, it was probably about $16 million in Canada we saw spent across Canada on that day. There was one.
That was on the Saturday, right? That was the Saturday.
That was on the Saturday.
I was bummed because the week before we moved to Thursday, Friday for the Poutine.
Well, next year we're gonna do a full weekend because it really went super well, and really this was an idea from a friend out in Victoria, and he got the girl who used to be the head of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. I jumped in and a few other people, and we said, let's just give this a go. It went really well and hit, and I think next year we're going to see incredible amounts more. But so I've spent the last couple months in different ways really thinking about how do you intentionally, spur small business. And so that's part of why I've been doing this coffee time thing, because I think spending on purpose locally and in small business, there's a multiplier factor on it that actually continues to circulate money within a community. So a way to be able to support guys like Jamie who do good stuff in the community with his business, not just philanthropically, which he does, but having a business that invests locally and as a vehicle for sponsors and for entertainment, like really does change a community for the better. So Poutine is one way, but Brantford Comedy is another. And just because we can't gather doesn't mean you're not doing the Brantford Comedy Fest. I believe I won a virtual ticket on my failed attempt on the Family Feud. So I cannot wait to be able to go.
There you go.
Yeah, my failed
Yeah,
Family
it's all
Feud attempt. But
like I said earlier, 2020 is all about adapting to survive. I mean, that's sort of like my phrase I've been using a lot is just adapt to survive. So I'm seeing all these events cancel. I mean, I'm part of some of them. What the Fest, obviously, being the biggest one locally. The Brantford Comedy Festival is really important to me. I mean, so is What the Fest, obviously, but you can't do a large scale event like What the Fest virtually. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. Well, there we go. Yeah, thanks, man. So yeah, we so basically Brantford Comedy Festival, we're going into our 11th year this year. And it could be really easy just to say forget it, not do it. But I don't
when
want
you've
to take
got one of the juice pigs, when you've got Corky and the juice pigs coming, you say let's go, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like a lot went into this because one, what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't want to do a Zoom comedy festival. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of comedians. I'm watching them do these Zoom shows. I mean, they're doing it. I mean, they need to make money, but they're soul crushing shows. I mean, really. I mean, you're doing stand up to a bunch of people who are sitting in their houses, like, and you see them talking to their kids or their wife or whatever. Like, it's just it's soul crushing, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I took a gamble on the fact that, hopefully by September, we're able to at least have a small audience, 20 to 50 people, hopefully. So now that we can have 50, that's great. So I reached out, I called in some favors. I mean, I reached out, obviously, Sean Cullen. We had him here the second year of the festival. Might have been second year of the festival. Yeah, he was here second year. Killed it. Absolutely one of the fan favorites. One of the ones that people said, like, bring that guy back. And so, pitched the idea to him and his people, and they loved it. It's tough because we're filming it. We're filming it we're going to film it in front of a live studio audience. My good friend Matt Joniak of Fat Panda Studios, again, called in a huge favor. I said, hey, I need a professionally shot comedy show with multiple cameras, and I've got peanuts and buttons and spare change to pay you. So Matt was like, yeah, I'm used to that from you, so no problem. So we'll make that work. So Matt gave me a great deal. So yeah, just calling in a lot of people. The challenge with the comedy festival, like I was saying, is we're recording it. So when you record something, it's forever. I mean, we're not going to use it forever. We're only going to put it out there for 7 days to our fans who buy virtual tickets. But the risk is always there that somebody has a copy or someone rips it online and starts to share it. So it really does eliminate a lot of people from the equation because a lot of people have deals. We have one comic that was going to come to be part of the show who just signed a deal to do a recording for Netflix. Very small, like part of a recording for Netflix. But again, their contract states you cannot record anything anywhere, like nothing, right? So it's been challenging, but the lineup this year is going to be super good. The show's virtual. The audience, we're going to be actually filming it right here at the Rope Factory behind me to an audience of 50 people. The 50 people are going to be made up primarily of sponsors. Because really, I mean, without the sponsors, I can't do the show. That's the other challenging thing, man. I mean, I flipped the script on my events years ago. I stopped going after ticket sales and focused on sponsorship. That allowed me to keep my ticket prices low. And that's one thing I prided myself on the festival. I've made it very inclusive. My festival ticket prices over the years have ranged from $10 to, like, I think my highest ticket in the last 5 or 6 years was $30.
Which is incredible for the level of
100%. A lot of the guys in Berlin, you'd pay $50 to see in Toronto. I used to have to drive there and park and everything. It's $100 night. So I can't do it without the sponsors. But the biggest challenge this year is the sponsors are all local businesses, and local businesses are the ones that are hurting the most from
This was
COVID.
this was
So
this was another one of our reasons for the big spend, really, because early on in COVID time, we were going to do some kindness stuff, and we went to a local business that typically gives us free ice cream to be able to go give away, and it was tough because of XYZ in COVID time. We're like,
100%.
shoot, this is why you got to be able to intentionally. Right now, it's critical to be able to support local business because there is a ripple effect that people don't always get, right? Like the local businesses are the ones, and we put this in our promo stuff for the big spend, is that these are the ones that sponsor, I mean, not just the festivals, but like kids soccer teams to pay and offset, jerseys and stuff like that. Like there's a ripple of what local business does in a market that is like people don't even really realize how deep it goes.
It goes deep, man. And, I feel like a terrible person going back to people and going, hey, want to sponsor the Brantford Comedy Festival again this year? I mean, you've been sponsoring the last 10 years. You want to make it 11? Knowing that, what small businesses are going through. So what I did this year to sort of keep some cash flow going to be able to pay for the festival, but also keep the relationships open with the businesses. And if you're open, you still need to promote yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, if your business is operating, you still need to market yourself. So what I've done for this year is I've slashed all the sponsorships in half. So, what was $1,000 last year is $500 this year. You're getting the same exact exposure you would get at that level. And then I did payment plans, payment terms. So I said, you can pay me in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. And I'm good with that. Like I'm fine with that. So, thankfully, a lot of the businesses I have relationships with, I've become friendly with. I know them on a personal level, so I'm not worried about it. So, pay me when you can, sort of thing. So it's worked out really well. We brought on some new sponsors this year. Really, really grateful to Greg and Wendy Hooten at Hooten's Tools and Spas. They moved up to our title sponsorship this year. Parkway has been my title sponsor for many years. But I mean, dentistry was one of the industries that was shut down for like 10 weeks when this was all happening. So, luckily for Hooten's, I mean, people are buying pools right now, I mean, they're standing in their backyard going,
pools are a hot item right now.
Yeah. So, very fortunate that they're in that position, that they're doing well. And they were able to step up as the title sponsor this year. So, yeah, I mean, couldn't do it without them. Definitely couldn't do it without the other sponsors as well. So, how's it going to work, Dave? I'm actually putting tickets on sale next Monday. So it's going to be $10 a ticket virtually. You can buy it's going to be an honor system thing. So it's $10 a ticket. If you're planning on watching it in your living room with a bunch of people, buy the family pass for $25 or the group pass for $25. And then if you want to send a link out to friends and family, you can buy a family pass for $50. So that's actually going to get you, I think I said it's going to get you 6 links. I'm going to bump that up to probably 10. So you can send it to a bunch of family and friends to watch it. And then there's also going to be the Compassion Through Comedy program, is something that we've done the last 6 years, where people are able to pay for tickets for people who can't afford to go. So I'm going to do that again this year. And then I'm adding reluctantly, but I'm going to add a tip option at the checkout for people who want to chip in a few extra bucks. I've had people say $10, like, I'll buy a whole bunch of tickets, right? I don't even know who to give them to, but I want to support you. How can I support you? So we're going to put a tip option up, and it could be as simple as just rounding up your purchase price or throwing the festival an extra $5 or whatever. It feels weird to say that. I feel like I don't feel good about asking for that, but at the end of the day, Matt Muse trying to spool tomorrow. Yeah, I saw his order come in. That's great.
Nice.
Dude, I'm telling you. Have you tried it yet, Dave?
I am ashamed to say that I have not tried it. And in fact, my daughter, when I said I was doing this with you today, she's like, you told me that we were going to get poutine. So she was extraordinarily disappointed with me for poutine-related reasons that I haven't eaten it yet.
You got to come down and try it, man. It's so good. So I want to talk about that again, but the comedy festival. So the tip option is going to be there. virtual tickets go on sale on Monday. It's weird. I sat with a potential new sponsor on Tuesday, and and they said, "What do you expect the reach to be?" And I said, it's interesting because at the Sanderson Center, my reach is 1,110 people. That's my reach. That's the most amount of people that can come in, plus a couple ushers and whatever. So I said, with this, we have the potential really to reach 3,000 to 5,000 people. I mean, realistically, it could go even more. I have people who are going to be buying family passes to send links out to their family and friends out in Winnipeg, and I have people in the States, my friends in Cincinnati, who are going to probably grab some tickets and watch it in Cincinnati. So, to the local sponsor, I mean, someone in Cincinnati watching, it's not a huge draw, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot more eyeballs on it this year than years past. So that's, I guess, the plus side of all this. So
this internet is catching on, Jamie.
Yeah, right. Who would have thought?
The school takeout. Al Gore's
when vision. Are you coming? I want it recorded internet history here. When are you coming down for some poutine?
When am I coming down? When is it open? When is it open?
So we are open Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
5 p.m. till 8:30.
All right. I will come.
You froze up on me. There you are.
Okay. Tomorrow night for poutine.
You're gonna come tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. Are you gonna be there?
Oh, dude, I'm there all the time. Oh, Todd won't have to hang your banners here. LOL.
You also is not going to have to hang your banners, the enormous banners from the back of the stage. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. So Huey's, for those who don't know, at the Sanderson Center, they have a love-hate relationship with my banners. I always just arrive and go, here you go. We lay them on the stage, and then I'm like, okay, let's put that one here, this one here. I'm like, oh, you know what? Now that I'm seeing it, I'm thinking this one should go over here. And it's not like it's all like pulley systems and ladders, and it's.
I'll bet you Rob Dalloway loves every minute of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Dalloway. Oh, too busy watching the Leafs win tonight. Yeah, well, I have a bet going on with Brandon, and actually, I have a bet with a lot of Leaf fans. This year,
you have like an open standing bet with Leaf fans.
What I did was I said I'll set my cap, and my cap was exceeded because people kept betting me. I'm not a Leaf fan, you know this.
Yes, I know this.
I'm not a Leaf fan. A lot of my friends are Leaf fans, so it's fun to rouse. I will say for Brandon, though, I did watch the game the other day. I was a little bit disappointed with the amount of shots Columbus got on net, and so I'm not feeling really good about tonight. But
have you ever been to a Columbus game? Have you ever gone?
Yeah, I have actually. Columbus was one of the greatest places I've been to see a game.
Me too. It is such a great spot to watch a game.
Everyone was super friendly. We went to the Columbus bar after and hung out, and it was great. It was it's a great little set, and it's cheap. Man, it was so cheap.
The Cannon.
I think I got hotel, my hotel, my gas, my food, and my tickets was still less than 2 tickets to go to a Leaf game. And honestly, we went down with 4 of us.
The fans were like, it was like an NHL sized going to an old Brantford smoke game back in the day. Like they were right into it. They're like regular salt of the earth people, totally into everything that's happening.
And that cannon, when that cannon goes off,
yes,
like the whole arena shakes. I will tell you though, I've been to multiple arenas, and even though I cheer for Vegas, the Vegas game was by far the best game I've ever been to. Because it's not just a hockey game. The whole thing is a show. It's absolutely insanity. Like when you watch it on TV and they're doing the parade and little stuff on the ice before the game, and you're like, okay, that's Vegas. There is so much going on like during the game, and then even like when there's a whistle, there's cheerleaders in the aisles. They're showing stuff on the board. They're shooting like little mini movies with the players that play on the screen. It's absolute insanity. My friends that came down with me for my bachelor party in November, we went to the game, And they were just like, you know what? Can't stand the team, but that was definitely one of the best games we've been to. The
All
atmosphere
right.
was insane.
Since we're talking sports before we're done, you got to change your background, Jamie. Let me see your Bengals,
Oh,
because
okay,
not
hold
only are
on.
you Mr. Brantford, but you become Mr. Cincinnati. Like,
Yeah.
so he's as well known in the American Midwest as just outside of the Golden Horseshoe. So Jamie has become like a internet Cincinnati Bengal pregame tailgate
No,
something.
okay, so let me
Like,
explain this to you.
what
So
are you now? What's the
all
thing?
right, so here's what's going on. So I'm a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. If I win, half goes to the Comedy Fest or Dave's Poutine. Your choice, Jim. Perfect. I don't want to cheer against money
Thank
going
you
to
very
Comedy Fest or Dave, but I'm still going to cheer for Columbus.
much.
Not
Go.
because of this bet, because the other $900 I'm going to lose if Columbus. So basically, what's happened is we go down to Cincinnati about six or seven times a year for games. So we were season ticket holders for a few years. We gave up our tickets this year because obviously COVID.
Possibility of no football whatsoever, probably. Or
Yeah, and the probable, yeah. So yeah, season ticket holder. So from Canada, so that's kind of been kind of a cool thing with the team. So we went down. I don't want to run out of time. Are we good? Like, can we keep going? Can we chat? This is kind of a story.
There is absolutely no network requirements to this
All
whatsoever.
right. All right.
We are free ranging on the internet.
So Aaron and I started going down to games, and it's intimidating going down to NFL games. So we're down there. We don't have it in Canada, right? I've been to a couple Bills games, and they're crazy. But we're walking around the tailgate, the parking lot, don't know anybody. So we stop and talk to a few people. And then we walked up to this one tailgate, and the guy who ran it, his name's Jimmy Foster, Bengal Jim. And he comes right over, hey, where are you from? Like, Canada. Canada, get over here. And he's got this map, and you pin your city on this map, right? And he's had people from all over the world visit this tailgate. So super friendly. Here, have a drink, have food. It's all free. Everything's free. Make a donation if you want. And we just had a blast. So we hung out there for like a good hour, and then we went out to the game. And then we went back a few weeks later to another game, and we'd like stop at the tailgate. And he remembered us, and so we just started hanging out at this tailgate, and we became friendly with Jim and James and a couple of the guys that run the tailgate. So keep in touch through social media and stuff like that, which is great. So when COVID happened and we're doing the draft, we were chatting and we were like, hey, we want to do this draft thing. We kind of see you're kind of a techie guy doing some of these live streams. Is there any way that we could do like a virtual draft party with our tailgate? So, me being me, I'm like, yeah, let's do like figure this out, like live stream it. We'll show the draft. And he's like, I'll get a bunch of Bengals players on and some legends. Man, and it was crazy. We had like 1,000 people, like 1,000 Bengals fans tuning into this thing. We brought on like Cincinnati Bengal legends. We had like Kenny Anderson on, who was like our quarterback back in the day, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
Was that pre-boomer? He was pre-boomer size?
Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Like like Kenny Anderson was the guy in Cincinnati. So anyway, so he came on. That was a huge score. We had some Bengals personalities come on, like reporters and stuff like that come on. And and we were competing with the draft where we had the number one pick. So it was cool to hold that many people. And so we decided, hey, like maybe we should do this as a thing. Like during shutdown, let's start this Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and friends. So it's me, Jimmy, and James. And we use the same software you're using today to do this stream. So I have it all set up, and man, we've brought on like Bengals legends. Like we're bringing on like OG players back from like the 80s and stuff like that.
What about Icky Woods? Are you able to track down Icky Woods?
We had Icky Woods on. Icky Woods was on like our second or third episode.
Serious?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we had Icky Woods on. We've had a whole bunch of people on. It's been. I mean, the names I'll drop to you won't mean anything to you because you don't follow Cincinnati. But we've had some really. We've had
I've
some
known
really cool
almost all the
guests.
names of the people who you've had on, at least that I've seen. Like
Yeah.
I'm a Washington football team fan, so it's a weird time for me as a man without a franchise name, but
So
I
we've kind of
appreciate the
joked
Bengal
around. So
history.
there's a girl named Marissa Contepelli. She works for the Bengals. So we had her on, and I made this backdrop when she came on, and she thought it was the funniest thing ever, right? So we're like, "Are you okay with this?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm totally fine." So we started this Marissa Contepelli fan club, and so she's linked to the team. So having her on the show, and she had such a great experience. She starts talking to people. So now we have opportunity to have on people with the organization. So
Great.
we've actually talked to the Bengals. They're aware of the show. They think it's great. They love it. So Jimmy's been talking to the Bengals, and we're going to get a current player on the show.
That's
So it
awesome.
started with a couple like personalities that work for the team, but we are going to get a current player that's on the show. And obviously, our end goal one day is to get Joe Burrow or Coach Zach Taylor on the show. That's going to be like the icing on the cake.
It's funny that became a tailgate thing. So I've never been to an NFL game. My team's in Washington. I've never gone to a Buffalo
Yeah,
game. I
what's your
couldn't
team
take.
called? The Washington
Yeah,
what?
it's called the Washington Football
Football
Team.
club.
Yeah.
Sounds like a soccer team.
The super funny thing, I became a Washington, formerly Redskins fan the year that Doug Williams led the team to the Super Bowl, and I got super into this storyline of the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I got into the Redskins for for racial barrier breaking reasons,
Right.
and eventually lost my ability to
how'd
say the
that
name
turn
of
out?
the team. No, it's eventually not so great. But so I had never been to, aside from CFL, I had never been to American football experience. And last year, so I went and did went to see my Michigan Wolverines with my son and did Ann Arbor. And so I had never seen the American tailgate football experience. I'd heard talk, I'd heard legend. I've been to, almost every other kind of live sporting event that you could think of. The American football tailgate experience, I mean, you have to see it to believe it. Like in Michigan, they've got right across from the big house, it's a golf course there. And they fill this golf course with thousands of cars and tailgate. They tear up the golf course.
I'm sure the
8 games a
groundskeeper
year.
loves it. Yeah.
Well, but they make enough money off of it. They totally overhaul the grass on the golf course 8 or 9 times a year because it's financially worth it to them to be able to do this tailgate party, and then totally resod the thing. It's a sea. It's a sea.
I can imagine it's like golfing at Pace's golf course when it's all done.
Paces roller guard. You could, yes, of course, you could get yourself a nice lasagna. You get a nice lasagna. A nice lasagna when you're
What's
done.
this? You can't throw shade when Cincy hasn't even had a football. Oh my god! All right, get this off the screen. Get this off the screen. I will tell you right now, if there is a season this year, the Bengals are going to surprise a lot of people. We have, in my opinion, we have the best receiving core in the whole league. People are they don't see just how good our team is. Our O-line is suspect. I worry about Joe Burrow, but we have a couple players that are coming back. We had Jonah Williams, who we drafted, was supposed to save our O-line. He got injured in training camp last year, so he's back this year. It's going to be good, man. I mean, I get a lot of Bengals hate for sure. I even get it around town. Like I go grocery shopping and this guy decked out in Steelers gear, and we just look at each other and just like, whatever.
When I started buying up Michigan stuff, it's funny. I get scowls. You start sporting team colors, and sports fans will look at you, and I'll get people walk by me in the grocery store going, "Go Ohio State," and just growl at me and walk away. Sports is the greatest. It would be interesting to see if our viewership goes way down when you deep dive into the Bengals O line.
Oh, most likely.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Johnson, 50% wins. Nice. Yeah, he's a Dolphins fan. I mean, really, that's
Lord.
That's the pot calling the kettle black. But anyway, no, it's
the last big moment they had was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Oh man, football is a huge part of my life. Like fandom. I mean, I live and breathe Bengals year round. Whatever you think about that, that's fine. But I'm 2020 sucks so much, Dave, that I'm fully expecting no football this year. I mean, that's really, I look so forward. Like usually right now, we're in Cincinnati for the training camp. We go down. We'll actually go down and do a week in Cincinnati in August. We'll take Addie down with us. We go to like the Cincinnati Zoo, and we do more than just Bengal stuff. But we usually go down savage. We usually go down for a week in August to do the training camp and hang out with our friends in Cincinnati. So I'm sadly missing that. But yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I mean, my friends in the States are confident it's going to happen. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I posted a picture the other day. I think I told you this pre-show. Our star running back at a hardware store on Saturday posing for a picture with a fan. No mask, no distancing, and then going to training camp on Monday.
How did that go over?
And I'm just like, I don't get it. I mean, kudos to the NHL and the NBA. I mean, I'm not just saying this as a Canadian. Like NHL and the NBA both have it figured out.
They've done it well. Yeah.
They've done it really well. And I mean, the NBA, I guess, has the bigger risk because they're doing not a whole season, but they're doing a reduced season, but still a lot of games, right?
Yep.
Whereas the NHL, it's going to be like a month and a half. So the risks are lower, but man, the bubble system is the way to go. I wish they could figure out a way to do that for football, but I just don't see it.
It's going to be very, very, very difficult for them. And there are times when football players, I feel like maybe are a touch irresponsible. There are times every now and again. But I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, me as well.
Well, Jamie, let's just plug your stuff one more time.
All right, cool.
This is a spool takeout. I apparently am going tomorrow for poutine with my daughter. And then the Brantford Comedy Festival. You can find them all on Facebook, and you know that Jamie is a Facebook guy. You've been loyal to the Big Blue social media, which is I still think is one of the best mediums to be able to actually do business, and especially in community where you get your business comes from local folks too.
I get teased a lot about Facebook because I have the verified profile. I have the blue check mark on my personal profile.
Yes,
so my friends make fun of me for that. But what's funny about that is
he's right, happened, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We were
talking
about that earlier.
I get people like I'll comment on something on like Barstool Sports, or I'll comment on something on TSN. And I'll get like 10 or 20 messages from random people going, "Who are you? Like, who are you? Why do you have blue check mark? Who are you? Like, I had people like, are you famous?" And it's like, no, you know what happened? I reached out to Facebook to get the Brantford Comedy Festival page a blue check mark.
Okay.
Right? Because they were verifying business pages.
Yeah.
And I put a ticket in, whatever, and then I put another ticket in, and I'm like, guys, I need this blue check mark for my page. Like, and then one day I log in and I see Brantford Comedy Festival, What the Fest, and my personal profile all have this blue check mark. But dude, it's insane. So there's some things on Facebook that I get that people like, if you don't have the blue check mark, you don't get. So when I'm going to post a comment, there's other options. Yeah, there's sponsorship options and stuff. You can tag partnerships and stuff like this. So I've actually over the years had brands reach out to me with like offers to like hawk products. in exchange for some, some financial kickback. And I just always kind of laughed it off because I'm like, it was because eventually I'm gonna get busted. All right, like some guy sends me a blender or something. I'm like, hey, check out this blender. Like, we sold no blenders. Who is this guy? Why? Why do you have the blue check mark?
It's a weighty responsibility, Jamie. The blue check
I went
mark.
down a couple of years ago to Niagara and played in the World Poker Tour, and I bought in. I bought in like a lower stakes and qualified, and I went into this tournament that cost $5,000 to enter, but I won my seat. And we played down from like 600 people down to 40, and the top 40 people won this $5,000 buy-in to this multi-million-dollar tournament the next day. So I won a spot. So I stayed overnight in Niagara, played the tournament, obviously didn't win, but a couple of weeks later, I get this package from Casino Niagara with a gold card, and I'm like, why is Casino Niagara sending me a gold card? Because in their system, they don't know that I won my way. It looks like I paid $5,000 to go in this tournament, and then went in this mega $1 million tournament for another $5,000 buy-in.
As a guy, that's a guy with a check mark.
so they sent me this gold card. So like Aaron and I go down to Niagara like once a year, maybe twice a year. We'll grab like the $150 package, get your $30 off of Braza, get your 10 free spins, and we'll go down for a night just to go down, right? So we're like, let's go down to Niagara. I'm like, well, let me call the casino and just see what this gets me. Like, I guess I'd probably get like free parking. At least we'll save the parking. So I call and they're like, give the number, like, oh, Mr. Stevens, how can we help you? I'm like, well, we're coming down tomorrow night to Niagara. I'm just wondering, like, I got this card, like, oh, when are you coming down? I'm like, tomorrow. How many nights are you staying? I'm like, we're just staying tonight. Oh, do you want to stay till Monday? I'm like, yeah, I mean, we could, I guess. I don't know why. And they're like, well, we got a suite for you. Complimentary parking. Do you need a ride from Brantford? We can send the car for you.
What?
And I'm like, I'm not taking the car. We'll drive ourselves. But we got free parking. We got a suite at the casino, like a suite, like with a living room, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. We got treated like royalty. And I'm going to air. I'm like, there's no way. We're totally gonna get. I mean, we went to the casino. I think I maybe spent $100 that weekend at the casino just because I felt like we got to go and spend some money.
And that was the last time that they invited you to.
No, I kept it for the year. For the year. We went to Niagara so many times. And then I guess when the year came up, I got my I went back to Niagara and I went to go use it. I didn't call for anything. We just went to go down there for the night. We went to go get my parking and I scanned the card and it was just like didn't work. And I went up to the window and they're like, "Oh no, you're part of the Emerald Club now." And I'm like, "Emerald? That's better than gold, isn't it?" No. No. Emerald's like, you're like the seashell club. You're not the pearl, you're the shell.
You can have towels
once. Here's your new card. Sir, the card costs $5.
A little ways away from the free ride. Right before we go, Ryan Ingram, I think he's still watching on Twitter. He's doing some great work from Brantford. He's doing some great COVID research stuff, looking at stats. I had him on my Brant Life show a few weeks ago, and he's right. Why MLB didn't stick with one stadium or go and play in the bubble where there are 1 million ballparks. They could have been in the bubble. In fact, Jamie, the thing that bothers me the most out of all the bubble sports talk is the fact that nobody picked up on doing a reality show of NBA players in Disney with nobody else there. Why? There's not a like these guys NFL or NBA players playing cornhole and fishing and like having beef with one another on who gets
to see like one of the point guards walk up to a ride and like stand beside that you must be this tall to ride this ride.
It was a built-in reality show. Nobody did it. It's crazy to me. We got Michael NFL.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, lock it down. It's asinine, and I really do. Here's my prediction for the future. I honestly believe that the MLB is not going to last. They're going to shut it down. I think within the next 2 weeks, and then I think the NFL is going to have to really quickly revisit their plans, because if the MLB cancels, then the NFL is the exact same model as the MLB. We're going to travel from city to city, state to state. They're going to have to do something. I'm hoping it happens quick enough that it gives the NFL time to figure this out. There's got to be a place, like Mike said, where, even within, driving distance of each other, you could play. My idea we talked about before I went on the air was Las Vegas is a ghost town right now. They tried to open it up. It didn't work out. It's a ghost town. They got that brand new stadium there. Go to Vegas and play games every day. So you're playing Monday, you're playing Tuesday, and just play games every day of the week and do a full season right through Vegas. They would make so much money on the TV.
If they were playing all day, every day, I would get nothing done for months.
Like, there would be true.
That's the productivity level of, even less productive than an hour on Facebook. You and I chatting about deep cut football offensive lines.
There we go. I'm sure we've lost everybody by now anyway.
Far from it. Jamie, you're the best, man. It was really good to chat with you. And you do good stuff in town. Folks, go buy some poutine.
So do you, man. I appreciate that.
Ticket to the Comedy Fest. All right. We're going to go now. This has been fun.
Buddy.
Jamie, see you tomorrow night.
See you, man.
Bye, everybody.